This is Bonsai Anonymous, and I'm going to finish the video that I almost finished when I forgot what I was talking about, and I'm hoping I can remember long enough to finish this one. So anyway, the tune that I just improvised on the previous video, I still don't know what it is, and I don't care, actually, because for my purposes, improvising by ear is where it's at. And so vocally, improvising with the tune I don't necessarily know, that's not too complicated, and the same thing with this, of course. But what happened at the end of that last video that I was making is something that I thought I would explain a little bit. I knew that what I was hearing at the beginning of the audio from Jamie was an introduction. Why? Well, deduction, really. He would be unlikely to start a tune on one of his play-alongs without an introduction if he can avoid doing it, because it's a nice little preparation for the key and all that. So anyway, I knew it was an introduction, and it proved to be 8 measures later. But the end is something different. And this is something that happens hundreds and hundreds of times to musicians that are doing this kind of thing. Hundreds, thousands of times. And that is how to tell when it's the end of the tune. Okay? And of course, if I had the music in front of me, that would be simple. I could just follow it. But how do you tell in a gig situation, this isn't uncommon? How do you tell when the tune is going to be ending? At least in a club date, the musicians a lot of times have certain things they do at the end of tunes, and certain little progressions and little licks, the Count Basie lick and all that. Those are all ways to show you that the end of the tune is coming. But the way I'm going to talk about right now is a little harder to attain, and that is hearing that the chord progression has changed to something which is going to be the end. And this normally would happen at the end of a chorus, so we would be paying attention at that point if we had any doubt. And normally at the end of a chorus, you're going to hear something. Someone's decided to do something. And in many cases, there's a signal, and that makes it easy. This means last chorus, and then we go on and do the end, and so forth. That's all right. But in some situations, we don't have this option. We're really not playing the melody. We're just, I don't know how to describe the situation, where we need to be able to hear when the end is coming. The Dixieland tunes are this way. They all have there's a set of stock endings that once you hear it being done by someone in the band, their part, and that would be the pianist or the bass player, probably, guitarist. The horn player could do it too. The horn player could play the lick that is going to signal the end. It's easily done. You just have to be able to hear it. And you don't always have the option of seeing someone count it in, or say, this is the last chorus. So what usually happens is at the end of a chorus, when you want it to end, we do some sort of tag. Okay, and this involves a different chord progression. Could be related to the introduction, not necessarily, but it's different, and it may start like the other one, be a little bit ambiguous, but sooner or later it's going to lead us into the end of the tune. And this is additional to the form, just like the introduction. The introduction is additional to the form. This is additional to the form at the end. So I was able to listen to this. It's a recording. No live musicians here to give any cues. Although if I listened to it enough, certainly I would figure it out. There's a section in here where it goes to double time. That may be close to the end. I'm thinking it is, but I can't swear how close. I heard it. I have a little trouble keeping track of time when I'm listening, to how many choruses it's been, and sometimes even what section of the tune I'm in. I have that problem. I'm here to admit it. So what happened in this one, which, as I repeat, is one I don't know, I played and sang along with it, and we got to a point where I could tell the chord progression is ending. And let's do it again, and I'll try to cue you when that is, so you see if you can hear it. because it's something you have to hear if you don't want to just go on with the tune. I mean, I'm a person who's totally missed a modulation in the middle of a tune that I knew, and I missed it at a public performance in a most embarrassing way. The lead trumpet player, who up to that point had been somewhat complimentary, turned to me after I played a solo in the wrong key. That's going to tell you that. Half of it was in the wrong key. He turned to me in between tunes. He said, that tune modulates. I'd only played it 100 times maybe at that point in my life with the key signatures right in front of me. Still, get into a freak out position and everything you have in your brain goes out the window, at least in mine. I'm not comfortable enough in this or my skin or any of that to not have that happen, a freak out when I'm kind of lost. So anyway, enough of that. I've got it set up so we can listen to the end of the tune, some of it, and I'll improvise and I'll try to tell you when it's getting to the end. Okay? And once again, I don't know what tune this is. I should look it up. This is the double time section, and I don't know where in the form it is, so I'm going to have to listen for the bridge. That sounds like it might be ended. This is double time. I'm not playing double time. Must have been. This must be the last A. Let's see. This is the bridge. I have a lot of trouble with legato. This is the last day, and I know it's the very last day because they went back into regular tempo. That would mean that we're going to come to the tag. There's the tag. Okay, so I don't know if you could hear it, but there were cues before the tag. There were cues. We had been in double time, and we went back into regular time for the last A. And that's a cue that we're going to finish. I think it's a convention that Jamie put in, because normally you would play the melody again at that regular non-double time speed. So I think he figured enough. And you could play the melody on the double time sections, no problem. But those cues led me to think that what I was going to hear next was going to be the tag, and it was the tag. And the tag, you should go back. I'm not going to go back and play it again, but you can if you're interested. The tag is a descending half-step progression. Something like that. It goes downward by half step. And I could hear that that's not the same as the A section of the tune, which is what would have been happening right there if we were going to go on and play another chorus. So those kind of cues. And here's the takeaway from it. Watch for cues, visual ones. Those are the easiest. You can't miss. But if you're not getting visual cues, you have to listen carefully. And where you're going to listen is at the end of each chorus. You're going to listen for something that leads you to think that it's going to go on to something different. And it's a tricky spot sometimes. Certainly at jam sessions it's tricky. Musicians who don't know each other necessarily, a lot of confusion and humor really in jam sessions. I always would provide some humor when I would try to play. Unintentionally, of course, but, you know, they always asked me to play, needed a little comic relief. Anyway, when you retire, about all you have left is self-degradation. Everyone else has had their chance, so you got to do it yourself. All right, Bonsai Anonymous out.